On the night she was born, the entire kingdom held its breath, not because of thunder or omens or whispered prophecies, but because the baby princess shimmered like glass. Her tiny fingers caught the candlelight and scattered it across the walls in dancing colors. Her skin was clear as crystal, her heartbeat visible like a soft flicker inside her chest. And yet, when the royal midwife gently lifted her, she did not crack, she did not chip, she did not break. "She is fragile," the queen whispered. But the king, watching closely, said nothing. They named her Elira. From that moment on, the castle became her world. Every hallway was padded, every step watched, every sharp edge removed. Servants moved like whispers, afraid even their footsteps might harm her. The other children of the court were never allowed near her. Even laughter was softened, as though joy itself might shatter her. Elira grew up surrounded by beauty, but untouched by life. She would stand at the tall palace windows, watching the world beyond gates. Children running through fields, birds darting through open skies, rain falling without fear. She would press her hand to the glass and wonder what it felt like to be free. "Why can't I go outside?" she once asked her mother. The queen smiled gently, brushing a strand of shimmering hair from Elira's face. "Because you are too precious," she said. But Elira did not feel precious. She felt distant. Years passed, and the kingdom flourished under the king's rule. Yet beyond the mountains, something quiet and restless began to stir. A shadow, not one that crept across the ground, but one that lived inside people. It began with small things. A merchant who lied about his goods. A friend who whispered betrayal behind a smile. A counselor who hid greed beneath kind words. No one spoke of it, but the kingdom was changing. Truth was fading, and no one seemed to notice. Except Elira. She began to see something strange whenever she looked at people. A flicker, a faint crack of darkness beneath their surface, like a reflection that didn't quite belong. At first, she thought it was her imagination, but the older she grew, the clearer it became. One evening, during a grand banquet, Elira watched as a nobleman praised the king with grand, glowing words. Everyone applauded. But in the polished surface of Elira's glass hand, his reflection twisted. His smile bent into something cold, his eyes hollow with deceit. Elira gasped. The room fell silent. "What did you see?" the king asked gently. Elira hesitated. I saw something that wasn't real," she said. From that day on, the king began to watch her more closely, not with fear, but with curiosity. Soon after, the storms began. Dark clouds gathered over the kingdom, though no rain fell. The air grew heavy, thick with something unseen. Crops began to wither, not from drought but from neglect. People turned against one another over small misunderstandings that grew too quickly, too sharply. The shadow was spreading, and still no one understood why. Until the night the palace gates were breached, not by an army, but by the storm itself. A wind unlike any other tore through the kingdom, rattling doors, shaking towers, whispering voices no one could quite hear. The castle trembled, and for the first time in her life, Elira felt something she had never been allowed to feel before. Fear. "Stay inside," the queen begged. But Elira looked out beyond the gates, where the storm twisted through the streets, where people ran, lost and afraid, where something deeper than wind was breaking the kingdom apart. And something inside her shifted. "If I stay," she said softly, "everything will break anyway." Before anyone could stop her, Elira stepped beyond the palace doors. For the first time in her life, her bare feet touched the ground outside. The wind rushed around her, pulling at her, howling against her glass form. Everyone held their breath, but she did not shatter. She stood. Each step she took felt like stepping into the unknown. And yet, with every step, something within her grew steadier, stronger. She moved through the chaos, drawn toward the heart of the storm. And as she walked, people began to notice something strange. Whenever they looked at her, they saw themselves, not as they appeared to others, but as they truly were. A woman who had hidden kindness behind bitterness suddenly saw her own reflection in Elira's glass form. and broke into tears. A man who had carried silent guilt for years fell to his knees, unable to look away. The shadow inside them could not hide. It cracked. It surfaced. It was seen. And in being seen, it began to fade. Alira did not understand how or why. She only knew she had to keep walking, deeper into the storm, until she reached its center. There, at the heart of the swirling wind, stood a figure made entirely of shifting darkness. Not a creature, not a person, but something older. It spoke without a voice. They chose me, it whispered. Every lie, every hidden truth, every fear they buried. I became. Alira stepped closer. You don't belong here, she said. I am what they refuse to see.